We always hear you need to be consistent to be successful. And I've also talked a lot about that on this channel. However, there are a lot of misconceptions about what it means to be consistent that I don't necessarily agree with. So let's address them. Number one. This is probably one of the biggest misconceptions people have. They think that consistency is frequency, and that could not be farther from the truth. Frequency speaks more towards volume compared to consistency that speaks more towards predictability. So you watch a lot of people that they say the secret to success on YouTube, or the secret to success at your career, or the secret to success in this area and that area is being consistent. What they are trying to say is to be faithful, to be predictable, for people to know what you stand for. And I know when you hear that, you say, oh, predictable, is that not a bad thing? No. When it comes to your career, predictability is good. It helps people grow trust for you. So for example, if I say that I am consistent on YouTube, it has less to do with posting 5 times a week than it has to do with posting on the same day and on the same time every single week. That they know when to expect your content, and they would ascribe you as a consistent person as a result, and not by posting videos every single day for 5 years. Even though that is not a bad thing, that has more to do with frequency than it has to do with consistency. Whenever people see you, does your brand have a consistent theme? Or anytime they see you, they are shocked, like, oh my gosh. That does not speak to a consistent person when people do not know what to expect from you. Sticking to something for a long period of time, that is consistency. Another misconception people have about consistency is that you never stop, that you keep going and going and going and going and going and going and going. And as I'm doing that, I'm even already having a headache. I said this in my Bible study video, and what I basically said was, a consistent person is not the person that doesn't take a break. The fact that you're consistent doesn't mean you will never take a break. It just means that when you do take a break, or life happens and you fall short, you come back and continue from where you stopped. Not that you won't miss a day or two, but that majority of the time, you show up when you said you would show up, or how you said you would show up. The reason this misconception is very damaging is that when someone starts something and for some reason they fall off the wagon and they were not able to stick with their schedule because, let's say, life happened, they all of a sudden ascribe that to an identity of not being a consistent person. They start to say, I'm not consistent, but they don't know that what makes them to not be consistent is not the fact that they fell off, or that they took a break, or that life happened. It was the fact that they didn't come back, or they didn't continue from where they left off. When I read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, the author said that he has this rule in his head called don't miss twice. So even if for some reason I wasn't able to show up today, the next day I'll resume from where I stopped. I won't just not show up today, then because of that I'm like, I always mess up, and then I keep not showing up. The fact that after missing that day, I never continued from where I left off, that is what makes you an inconsistent person, not the fact that you missed a day or two. The third misconception people have about consistency is that consistency is an action. Not necessarily. You have to first see yourself as a consistent person. And how do you see yourself as a consistent person? When I coach people, I ask them, when have you ever done something and stuck to that thing? If you have ever done anything in your life and stuck to that thing for a period of time, you have it inherent in you to be consistent. You just have to choose what you want to be consistent with. Because a lot of times, the reason people stop being consistent is because they don't even ascribe that to their identity. But when you tell yourself, I'm a consistent person, then the action will follow that will now reinforce the identity of being a consistent person. The fourth misconception that people have is that consistency has a lot to do with being motivated. Nothing can be further from the truth. Consistency has more to do with systems than it has to do with being motivated or feeling like doing something. If you, going back to my last point, believe that you're a consistent person, you will put certain systems in place to show up for that thing. So for example, if you feel like when it comes to working out, I am consistent, then you would have paid for your gym subscription ahead of time to reinforce that mindset, and you would have had a set time for working out every week, so that even when days come that you don't necessarily feel like it, you still have to go because those systems have been put in place for you to be consistent. A better way to look at consistency is to look more towards building habits than feeling motivated, because it's not about how you feel, it's about the habits that you have built of showing up for that thing you want to be consistent in, even when you don't feel like it. When it comes to feeling like doing something, the action comes before the feeling. So first of all is the mindset or the identity that you're a consistent person. Then secondly, the action that follows before the feelings ever come into the equation. So a lot of times that you're finding motivation, what you need to do is take action. It is in taking action that you will start to feel like doing the thing. A good example is when I sit down to shoot a video, I am more motivated to shoot like 3 videos than if I wanted to feel like shooting before I even ever shot the video in the first place. Do you get it? Number 5, consistency is about sustainability. When you say that you're consistent with something, you have committed to do that thing for a long period of time, and not by doing so much of that thing in a short period of time and then giving up afterwards. I have a problem with people that say, oh, I want to create content, and then all of a sudden they come and they start posting every day, and then they get burnt out and then they now stop for like 1 year. I have a problem with that because a consistent person thinks long term. How can I do this thing sustainably? And so it is better to show up once a week, every single week for 10 years than to show up every day for 30 days and then give up afterwards. When you make up your mind to do something, tell yourself, I'm sticking to this thing for 10 years. And then after the 10 years, if it doesn't work out, fine. It doesn't mean you won't evolve as you go on that journey. It just means that concerning that thing, your mindset is more towards longevity than it is towards frequency. And as we all know, when you do things long enough, quality will follow and you will eventually get results. The next misconception is having a picture for consistency. Consistency looks different for every person. When some people consider themselves to be consistent people, they tend to have those same exact expectations of other people. And what I mean by that is, if both of us are YouTubers and this person posts 3 times a week and I post once a week, it doesn't make me a less consistent person. In the same way, if someone goes to the gym 5 times a week and another person goes twice a week, it doesn't make the person that goes twice a week less consistent than the person that goes 5 times a week. When you think of the number difference as one person being consistent than the other person, you're thinking towards frequency and not consistency, going back to my first point. One of the biggest reasons people are not consistent is actually a lack of clarity. They don't have enough clarity to keep showing up. But what they do not understand is that clarity comes on the road. For a lot of things, you might have to take the first move to know what next to do. It's kind of like how a GPS system works. When a GPS system is on, as long as you keep moving, even though you may veer towards the wrong direction, the GPS system will redirect you towards the right direction. But when you are static and you're not in motion, it might be difficult to get clarity on some of the things that you need clarity on to be consistent. So even though you're not consistent because you need clarity, you may need to put in motion to get the clarity that you want. If you found this video valuable, kindly give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're yet to subscribe. You can also check out this video right here. See you there.